In this video, we will solve the baccalaureate exam of 2019 for the English subject. My name is Mr. So, and today I will teach you how to get a really good mark on an English exam. Usually on the English baccalaureate, we start with a text. So you will have a text with some paragraphs. Here, for instance, we have about 7 or 8 paragraphs, and we will read through them in order to understand exactly what the text is about. There will then be a series of questions about the text that we will answer question by question. Let's begin. How do young people communicate today? Children and adolescents seem to communicate with their peers more electronically than face-to-face. They chat with their friends through instant messaging, texting, social network sites such as Facebook, and email. They are often multitasking. They may be texting several of their friends while chatting via instant message and at the same time listening to the latest music download. Their world is insular, in constant motion and seemingly never ending. There is information sharing in these messages which appear to be slightly exaggerated sound bites. Discussions about homework, sports, and the latest trends are shared. Drama and conflict are also included in these conversations, but there is no real means to resolve them. Their online conversations tend to be short, but the back and forth dialogue with a multitude of friends can last for hours, and simultaneously they are playing the latest video game. They also consider that playing online games with their friends is meaningful contact and conversation. This seems to be more like parallel play as opposed to really being engaged with one another. Not talking directly to each other has caused this means of discussion to become threatening. Online chats are communicated through keyboard strokes and can be discontinued at any time. It would be awkward to end face-to-face discussion abruptly. It is probably even more uncomfortable for kids to begin a face-to-face conversation. Multitasking electronically creates anxiety and diminishes meaningful discussion and relationships. Many children and adolescents feel like their lives are empty if they don't devote an inordinate amount of time each day to multitasking. It seems that the absence of moving from one text to another, then to an online chat, and then to one's Facebook page creates alarming boredom. This sense that there is nothing to do eventually creates anxiety that causes emotional outbursts and increases sadness. What can parents do about this phenomenon? You can model effective communication with other adults in your life as well as your children. You can insist that they do not have earphones on while you're attempting to talk with them. You can also limit your children's time on these gadgets. You can spend quality time with your kids, talking about how they feel about school, their future, and their relationship with you. Help them go beyond one-word responses. Hopefully you have a good understanding. To summarize, this reading was about online conversation, electronic chat, and the fact that it has taken children's ability away from talking face-to-face and from socializing with people. So let's start with the questions. The first section is reading comprehension, and here we are asked to complete the chart below with adequate information from the text. So we are asked from young people's means of communication to find 2 problems related to the use of electronic devices and 2 solutions to the use of electronic devices. So usually when you have a question about the reading, there is one paragraph that tends to be more relevant than the others. Here, this paragraph here, if you read it, is more relevant to the problems with electronic devices. It says here that multitasking electronically creates anxiety and diminishes meaningful discussions and relationships. So we have here 2 problems. The first one is that it creates anxiety, and the second one is that it diminishes meaningful discussions and relationships. You can also find many other problems. Here, for instance, it says that children and adolescents feel like they're empty. And it also says that it creates alarming boredom sometimes. And it can also cause emotional outbursts or increased sadness. So you have many options, and I chose the two here. To find two solutions to the use of electronic devices, this paragraph here is the most relevant one. You can read here that you can model effective communication with other adults in your life as well as your children in order to prevent this thing with electronic communication. So the first one is model effective communication with adults and children. Is there another one? Yes. Do not have earphones on while you are attempting to talk with them. So you can say no to earphones to your children, no earphones while communicating with children, so that they can be here with you face to face and have a good conversation with you. Some other options, you could limit your children's time on electronic gadgets. So by limiting their time on it, you limit the consequences of the problems. And finally, you can spend quality time with your kids, which is another way of avoiding electronic devices problems. Okay, let's do the second question, which asks us to fill in the gaps in this passage with relevant words from the indicated paragraphs of the text. Okay, so children and adolescents mostly use cell phone as their main means of communicating via text messaging. So text message is the way children communicate. Most parents buy their kids cell phones for the false sense of security that they will be able to reach them at any time. But many of them will simply not answer when their parents ring them up. This preference to communicate electronically rather than face-to-face is a mode of communication which can even damage their relationship with their family members. So all these words, you can find them in the text and they can fit perfectly here in this paragraph. Let's do number C. It says statement 9 is false and statement 10 is true. Justify each answer with relevant passages from the text. Okay. 9 tells us that young people manage to solve their online conversational problems originating from their chats. And it's false. So let's find the justification in the text. You can look at this paragraph here. And at the end of this paragraph, you can read, drama and conflict are also included in these conversations, but there is no real means to solve them. So it says that there is conflict, but no means to solve those conflicts. So here it's false because drama and conflicts do arise, they do happen, but there is no ways that they resolve those conflicts electronically. Number 10 tells us that a lot of kids find it difficult to abstain from using the electronic devices. And it's true because if you read this part of the paragraph, it says right here that it seems that the absence of moving from one text to another, then to an online chat, and then to one's Facebook page creates alarming boredom. This sense that there is nothing to do eventually creates anxiety that causes emotional outbursts or increased sadness. So definitely they have a very difficult time abstaining from using devices. And so the absence of moving from one text to another and all these advantages of electronic communication can create alarming boredom when they are not there for the kids. Okay, let's do number D, which tells us what do the following words refer to in the text. So what is multitasking? So the text is here and we have they are often multitasking. They may be texting several of their friends while chatting via instant message and at the same time listening to the latest music download. Okay, multitasking means doing multiple tasks, so activities, many different things at the same time. That's the meaning of multitasking. So here the multitasking is about the texting, it's about the chatting, it's about listening to the music. It's listing all these different things that the children do electronically. So it refers to texting friends, chatting via instant message, and listening to music. Number 12, this means of discussion. So let's look at the paragraph And this means of discussion is right here. Okay, what does it refer to? It says not talking directly to each other has caused this means of discussion to become threatening. And earlier, the previous paragraph was talking about online conversations. So the mean of discussion we're talking about is indeed online conversations. Okay, let's do E, which is now in the second category, linguistic competency. It says fill in the gaps in this passage with appropriate words derived from the ones in the brackets. Okay, let's do this. Reliance on electronic devices causes young people not to have the patience for long and, so we want to use the word mean, and then discussions. So mean means important. So we want to use an adjective here, and the adjective derived from mean is meaningful. So they don't have meaningful discussions. In fact, the absence of face-to-face communication eliminates any attempt to solve problems together. Sometimes conflicts with close friends require real to compromise. So we want to use the word commit, and here it's going to be a noun. So what is the noun derived from commit? It's commitment. Commitment to compromise. This process takes time and energy. That is why it is very fulfilling once you have been and we have success. And here we want to use an adjective. The adjective from success is successful. He is successful. So that is why it is very fulfilling once you have been successful in reaching a satisfaction solution. So here we want an adjective that is derived from satisfaction, and the word is satisfactory. We want to reach a satisfactory solution. All right, let's do number F, which says combine items in column A with those in column C using the right prepositions in column B. So we want to make a proper sentence using one line from each column. So from column A, we will choose young people's independence and try to link it to column C. The best sentence in column C is definitely electronic devices causes them not to have the patience for long and important face-to-face conversations. Young people's dependence on those electronic devices, so here it's on. Young people's independence on electronic devices causes them not to have the patience for long and important face-to-face conversations. For the second sentence, we have, are parents really anxious? So it's the beginning of a question. So on the other side, in column C, we expect a question mark because it's the beginning of a question. And so we have two options. The one that seems to make the most sense is the way their kids chat on social networks. Okay? And the word in between is about. You are anxious about something. So the sentence becomes, are parents really anxious about the way their kids chat on social networks? It's a question. Okay? So number 19 says, teenagers are fond. And then because it's not a question, we don't expect a question mark. And therefore, we only have one remaining option, which is using cell phones as their main means of communications. And teenagers are fond of. We are fond of something. And so the overall sentence becomes, teenagers are fond of using cell phones as their main means of communication. And finally, the last one becomes, is it easy for youngsters to stay a whole day? And the remaining option on column C is chatting on social networks. And the middle word will be without. And the full sentence becomes then, is it easy for a youngster to stay a whole day without chatting on social networks? All right, let's do question G, which says, complete meaningfully this conversation between father and son on the use of electronic devices. Choose the words from the list below and use them in the right form. So we have a few words, share, spend, play, download, and edit. And we want to use them in the right form. We have to put the right form on those words in the text. So father, I've noticed that you spend too much time on your cell phone. Can you tell me what you're really doing with it or who you are with? Here the answer is play, and when we put the right form, it's playing, the gerundive. You are playing with. Who are you playing with? Son: Dad, to tell the truth, I'm not gaming. Father: Whatever, I would rather you less time on this gadget. So it's spend. You want to spend less time on your phone. So here the father wants him to spend less time on his gadget. You know it can cause repetitive stress and brain cancer. And finally, the son says, Dad, we're having a project presentation tomorrow. So I am information. What do we do with information? We download it. So I am downloading information from the net and sharing it with my classmate. So you download and then you share so that everybody has the knowledge to learn. Last but not least, we have a prompt, a topic, which tells us to choose one topic and write about 250 words on it. So it's 6 points. It's a very important question, but I will make a different video teaching you how to approach the topic section of an English exam. So in another video, we will go in depth on how to do that and how to brainstorm, to mind map, and to have clear ideas before writing down your topic. So stay tuned and make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you will never miss any of our videos. Thank you so much for watching.